Hey there.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good evening.
It is an evening. It's a late evening too. So
Yep.
we normally try to do this like around 7.
7-ish.
And we had a little detour
Yes.
because
I did.
little Larry and Penelope were trying to do some business today. So
Yes. It's been a day.
yeah, it's been a day. So yeah, Penelope has had special time for her.
Yes.
So
She's ready.
she's ready. All right. So we'll have more about Larry and Penelope later, but we got to talk
Yes.
about tonight's big deal, which is about the latest in real estate trends.
Yes.
In particular, a very hot topic people have noticed and are talking about, and so we're going to dive into that. We'll take a look at the latest numbers here as well.
Yeah.
Get you up to speed. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
Aaron Tuttle.
Jody Tuttle.
And we're Team Total Realty here, based out of Oklahoma City. So if you ever need anything on the real estate world, even if it's just a question, we got your answers. You can call or text us anytime with the number on the screen.
Yes.
You can also visit our website there at teamtotalrealty.com.
That's right.
All right. Well, tell you what, if you have any friends or family that are looking to buy a house or worried about the industry, whatever, point them to this broadcast right now. All right, just hit the share button, text them, whatever, and get them on here so they can get acclimated to the latest. So let's do the first thing what to do probably is talk about the interest rates.
I'd say take a look outside, but it's
Oh,
already
you do
dark
like
out.
to do look outside. Okay, real quick. There it is. It's dark.
It's dark. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, but you know what? There's a solar flare coming
Oh,
tonight,
yeah.
tonight and tomorrow night across the country.
Yes.
And I don't know, we'll be probably too far south to see it. It's a freak occurrence to get this strong of one to get this far south. But tomorrow night, maybe. We'll see.
Right.
But nothing out there right now. There's some starlight. Okay, so now let's get on with the mortgage rates. Now, the Fed, of course, had come out with a big announcement, a few weeks ago, and it was dropping the percentage points.
Yeah,
that it cut.
0.5%.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, the world of real estate already knew that was coming, so they didn't change. The 30-year mortgage didn't change the results.
No, if you're looking for a rate decrease,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen because it's already all built. It's built right in.
Yeah.
And actually, funny fact here, ever since they made that rate cut,
Yeah.
September 18th,
Yeah.
the rates have progressively been going up ever since, point by point, a
Yeah,
little bit. So
6.26.
Yeah,
for a
for the
30-year
30-year fixed,
Now, of
yeah.
course, some banks will have special deals going, where they can tap into that and get you a little bit lower,
Yeah.
and you can also buy down points, stuff like that. But
Yes.
as far as what the average is across the country, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so Oklahoma, look at how things have been going. So this is
Yes.
the greater Oklahoma City metro area.
That's pretty good.
So new listings are still up. We're
They
the
are.
tail end of summer, right?
Yeah.
Fall's here, school's starting or started. So listings are still up there, though. There's still people wanting to sell their homes
Yes.
close to 500. I believe that's about where it was last time.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was. I mean, right now, I think people want to move and be situated. I would think before Thanksgiving,
Yeah, sure. Why not?
and especially before Christmas.
Well, the motivated sellers
Mm-hmm.
are dropping their prices. So if you look there, you see the price decrease.
Yeah, there's 589 price decreases,
That's a big
and that's
number.
for various number of reasons,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. But the
So-
primary one is the fact that the houses aren't moving like they were, which is normal.
yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah, for this time of
That's
the year,
right.
that's what happens. And so if you're late to the party, and it is, everybody puts their house up when they can put their house up. So
Yes.
it's not like, there's a boat, and if you miss it, you miss it. It is what it is. So you
Right.
work with what the market does. And it's just this time of the year, things drop off, because everybody's getting
Yep.
back in the routine. So if you want to move it, you're going to have to drop it, especially, as the wind blows. And it blows different ways, different times of the year. And right now,
got to go with the flow.
you got to go with the flow. Pending sales means, in other words, they're about to close.
Right, there's been a contract written on them,
Mm-hmm.
so it's 365,
Yep.
and 385 have sold. So
Yep.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So the median price of a home
Yeah.
here in Oklahoma City metro area. So this last part of the graph you see here on the right. All right.
Yes.
So this starts you right about April. So
Yeah.
it's about 239, dips to 235 in May, back up to 240, 235, back up to 240 for August.
Yeah.
And then boom, there's that big drop, 229. That's a $10,000 price
Yeah.
decrease just in the last month. And again, that's that changeover from summer to fall. As now, it's the buying season for most people have come to an end, and so now the prices are dropping
Yep.
from those decreases that we showed you, and that's pulling down the median sales price of the home.
It's the last quarter of the year.
But you can see the little peaks always occur during the middle part of summer, June and July.
Yes.
Of course,
Most active.
Yeah. Well, now we go too far off the map. You got COVID leftover and stuff to deal with. But at least the last 2 years, 3 years have been somewhat normal-ish. Back as far as people moving and whatnot. Yeah. Okay, so that was the latest on that. The other interesting thing was days on market.
Yes.
So we were at about 11 days on market. In other words, when you put your house up on average, that's how many days until it's sold. That's gone up to
16.
I know, we have to get our glasses on to read some of these numbers.
Oh my gosh, I know.
so now the average price is at 16. So in other words, that's normal. Look at the graph here in the back for this time last year. Did the same thing, went up from 11 to 18 over the winter to 21.
Right.
So this is a typical curve of what normally happens.
That's right.
Let me think. Anything else on here worth showing?
A month's supply.
Oh yeah, month supply. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And that's,
I like that, how it's progressively going upwards.
Right. So now we're at 3 months supply.
Yeah. That's good for Oklahoma.
That's the highest we've been since the pandemic. So prior to that, and if I go back, this will go back 5 years.
Yeah.
Let's see. So this is 2019.
2019, which is a more relative normal year.
We're at around 2. But if I go back prior to 2019, all the way back to 2011, we had 6 months of supply on the market.
Yeah.
Oh, things were not moving.
No.
Or there was an overabundance of supply, just from builders and incentives and that kind of deal. So I didn't look back at that data.
So it was definitely a buyer's market back then.
Clicked it. Oh yeah, if there's a lot to choose from, prices come down.
That's right.
So that's a deal. So we do like 2 to 3 months supply. That's what the industry likes as far as what's out there.
Yes.
But like you said, the higher this number goes, in other words, if it's a 4 month supply, 5 month supply, that means it is a buyer's market, and those prices will continue to come down, so you get a better deal. So even though we have that transition from summer to fall, if you're the buyer, it's the better time to buy if you're looking to save a few extra bucks.
Yes. Well, and I find right now, given the way the market is, if you're looking or sitting on the fence, I say you get into that. You jump in now. Talk to your lender. There's a lot less, in my opinion, a lot less competition out there.
Right.
You still have the inventory from what we just saw. So, and if you keep waiting, what's going to happen? The price of those homes are going to keep going up, and you're going to wish you would have bought a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago.
Well, it's funny, we're talking about this, but in the world of cars, right? And we're talking about buying versus leasing.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we did a 3-year lease, so we can give it back, and we never know what the economy is going to do then, and prices. And then we look at the cost of buying everything, and I'm like, it's never going to be cheaper 3 years from now than it is today.
No, exactly.
And I'm just
it's the way with everything.
Yeah, it's the way with everything. So even on the housing side. So it's one of those deals, if you're in that position, you don't need to wait. If you're not in the position, and you don't have it, it's okay. You can save, and you can wait for a little small entry that gives you a little bit better favor. Like we said, these are all the little minor dips that we're heading into now.
Yes.
I mean, $10,000 is $10,000, compared to last month.
Right.
So that is a big difference. And it may go down another $10,000, say between now and say December when things peak out. You don't know, but that's usually how it goes, all right, historically. So the thing we want to talk about tonight, the hot topic here is called income housing gap. So obviously, why are we in this position? Besides the Fed saying there's a housing shortage, all right? So let's take that off the table, because there's always a housing shortage because, we're always building people in the country, either through babies or through people coming in across the border, whatever it may be.
That's right.
Numbers are going up, and so housing needs to go up accordingly. And because of the delay from the pandemic and getting things back in order, there's been a big delay and a big lag in that. So therefore, it hasn't kept up with the number of people here that can afford a home.
Yes.
So that's what's kind of caused things to go tipsy-turvy on the big picture of things. But then when you look at the numbers, it's beyond that. And it is so beyond that. It's disgusting, it's disheartening, it's frustrating. If I am a Gen Z, I am like, what in the world? How did you guys ever afford a house? And that is a valid point. And we're going to tell you why it's a valid point.
Right. But Gen Z are the ones that are in the market now.
I know.
Yeah.
Because the millennials kind of at the tail end of where they had the awesome interest rates.
Yeah.
So whatever was available, inventory wise, was snatched up with those great interest rates. And, for those that still had a job and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So this is, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. Just want to give you the big picture here. This is called The increased income housing gap. So this is what we wanted to dive into a little bit. And we're going to watch the trend that goes from left to right. Now, this is for years.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the U.S. house sales price to income ratio. In other words, how much did a home cost back in the day versus what you made on average, right? Your take home
Right.
pay. So I've got this here pretty
This
big.
is a great graph.
Yeah, really, this tells a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going all the way back to 1985. All right, now back then you had some crazy high interest rates,
Yeah.
back in those days.
Sure.
However, big difference here, and that is the price to income ratio. In other words, how much was that home? Did it cost you versus how much you brought on a paycheck?
Right.
And back then you had about $22,000,
Mm-hmm.
and the home was right around $78,000. So it's a multiplication factor of about 3.5. All right. So in other words, more houses were more affordable back in the 80s, even with those steep interest rates. It did consume about half of the household income in mortgage payments.
Yes.
So you weren't what we call house poor. All right. So
Right.
you had to give up about half of your income to have a nice abode, a dwelling that no one moved from. No one treated like an investment property. It
Right.
was your forever home.
Yes.
You're raising all your kids in it.
Yes.
And maybe some grandkids will be in there too.
Yeah, the family home.
Family home, right? Everybody comes back for dinner. All the grandkids, great grandkids. It's family reunion time.
And some folks still have the family home.
Oh yeah, there still are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of boomers. They still live in that mindset.
That's
Okay,
right.
but if you do look at the scales that go from left to right, look what happens. All right, so we're back into the 2020 to 2024 era,
Yeah.
and now our median income has gone up to $74,000, which
Yeah.
we were thinking that's pretty good. You're like, wait a
However.
minute. However, you see how much price of the eggs are, the price of toilet paper?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're focused on the housing part, right?
Yes.
So now, I've got to move this graph all the way down. You can't
Yeah.
see
You
it.
can't see it.
Way up here at the top.
Yeah.
You see what that number is? Median sales price. This is nationwide.
Yeah.
Remember, we just showed you Oklahoma.
Right.
So we're going to give you a couple more stats here for Oklahoma in a second.
Yeah.
But that is $433,000
Yes.
across if you take that national average.
National average from
All right. And so that puts us
Versus-
in a price to income ratio of almost 6. So
almost.
double what it was,
Yeah.
back in the day, nearly. What that means is we're in trouble, right? So your take-home pay that
Yes.
you have is nearly going into almost all of your housing costs.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because if you do that, where's the rest of the money left to pay the other bills?
right.
To car. Because guess what? Cars aren't cheap. They're going up too.
Insurance.
Insurance.
Home insurance keeps going up.
Yeah. Of course, the food and groceries and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So when people wonder why is the housing market slow, look at this nonsense.
Right.
Right. So this kind of highlighted one of the peak issues: the low interest rates, millennials entered the home buying age, and a supply shortage kind of drove prices through the roof. That's part of it. Obviously, there's a lot
Right.
going on.
Sure.
Let's see. Back in the 2000s, there was the loose lending practices that caused some ballooning prices and housing bubbles.
Yes.
And a subsequent crash, for the
Right,
2008.
2008, yeah.
So if you smooth out that anomaly, if you follow the chart, the trend, it's been
Progressively upwards.
yeah. So it's a standard trend, and then COVID hit, and that just jacked it all up. So yeah, we'd
Right.
like to say this is all part of the millennial issue and supply and demand, but if you keep that trend going, honestly, we should be more around about 370,000,
Right.
which still is too much. It's just
Compared to income.
but we're just suffering even more.
Yeah,
So it was an
exactly.
interesting graph to just put it visually as why we're in the trouble that we're in. And if you're like, how can we afford a home? This is why.
Right.
This is it. Now, here's the good news. This is national. Let's talk about Oklahoma just for a minute.
Right. Well, while national prices soar, Oklahoma City still remains relatively affordable, and we just saw that, right? So the median price in Oklahoma City is about $229, and that's as of September 2024, which is significantly lower than the national.
Yeah,
which we
I
can
mean,
see that.
so-
229,000.
We talk about Oklahoma being a great place to live.
And some home builders,
Yeah.
you can actually get a brand new house
Yeah.
for that amount.
Oh, yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah, you can.
So, I mean, oh my gosh.
But yeah, the example for that is, kind of put this in perspective, the payment for that. Remember, it was to compare years. Did you write that down on here? How much it was per year?
Did I?
I was looking at your notes. Yeah. Right. Is it here? Yeah, right here. Right here. Right here.
Okay.
So in 2020. Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It kind of goes along with this graph, just because of the dramatic change. But back in 2020, the income required to buy an average home in the U.S. was around $54,000.
Right.
All right. Now, in 4 years.
Right.
4 years.
It's skyrocketed.
It is now. This is stupid. The number is now $121,000.
Yeah.
All right.
So, of course, that affordability gap leaves.
You can't cover a difference of $54,000 to $121,000 in
Right.
pay from your employer.
Yeah.
No employer is going to go, oh, let me double your salary real quick in the
Right.
last 4 years because your home price to be able to buy one has now done that.
That's right.
It doesn't happen. So when people blame, the millennials and all that stuff, look, there's way more to it, and most of it was this pandemic and all the nonsense that happened with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And
Well,
it still is happening.
It was the low interest rates, the strong millennial demand, and limited housing supply that caused all that.
Well, that was before.
For example,
Yeah.
2020, the income required was 54, but now it's 121.
That's this little bubble here on the chart.
Yeah.
Kind of gives you a visual of what that is.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
my gosh.
It's got up here, but the problem is that's just a little bubble, and like I said, that's a blip, and that's fine for the first year.
Yeah.
But the effect after that,
I
it
know.
hasn't improved. It hasn't changed. We're still so far behind.
Nationally, I know.
And I know this is the numbers that are thrown out there in the political world. How many immigration, how many numbers have come across in immigration,
Right.
And the unofficial counts are anywhere from 20 to 30 million people
Right.
in the last few years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a problem because we don't
Yeah.
have that many houses.
Right.
So
No.
if I mean, let's say for example we've got, and I didn't look at the number. I had heard it and I should have wrote it down. Let's just say we've got 4 million houses available right now, and I have to go back and check the numbers. But
Right.
so let's just say we got 4 million houses across the country that are currently available, and it's just to throw out a number as an example.
As an example.
If you have 20 to 30 million people all of a sudden are here looking for a home, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
The old supply and demand, right?
Right.
And the fact there's just not enough houses to buy.
That's right.
So that's another part of it. It's not the most part because that can be sometimes regional.
Yeah.
Right. So in other words, if a lot of immigration happens in one small community or in one small town or one small state, well, obviously that's a very heavy weighted area for that
Correct.
local supply.
Correct.
Right. Versus where maybe they wouldn't move to and there's still their normal supply.
Correct.
It all averages out, in the big picture for the country, but just as a big picture whole, that's another part of the issue.
Right.
Let's go a couple other.
But our home prices, which is really nice,
Yeah.
they've grown modestly at 3.1% annually.
Yeah. So Oklahoma City
it's been
is still
slow and steady.
better than the rest of the country when it comes to home prices, even though it
Yes.
stinks. And we agree with you.
It
right?
might seem unaffordable, but we
it-
still have the affordable housing.
Well, it's unaffordable because the salaries and the take-home pay that you make from your boss isn't enough to cover it. So that part of it makes it unaffordable, even though compared to the rest of the country, the numbers aren't as bad and
Right.
and more favorable.
That's right.
It's always relative, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do you want to say?
Well, there's higher borrowing costs because of the rates, right?
Oh, for sure. Even that's like when you buy a new car. I mean, my
Yeah.
goodness, now you got to pay a mortgage. Think about it. If you already had a mortgage,
Yeah.
before the pandemic, even through it, the price you're paying for a mortgage, now go try and buy a new car.
Oh.
It's the same. Matter of fact, your car payment may be more than your mortgage.
Absolutely.
It's nuts.
So for buyers looking to buy in OKC, there's still an advantage compared to the national trends. Absolutely. And we showed you that.
But that's the good news is we've mentioned that our median household income is right around $74,000
Yeah.
for this part of the country.
Yeah.
And you have to have about $121,000 as a whole on average. But
Yeah.
at least we don't have to have that here in Oklahoma. You have to have basically what you are at now.
That's right.
So it's not as bad, but it's still
Oh, yeah.
it's stretched.
And then for sellers, it still remains Well, they're calling it's a balanced market. Neither fully favoring buyers or sellers at this point.
Well, that can change monthly.
It can.
Yeah. So at this point in time, it's a little bit on the.
With inventories increased slightly, so the sellers should focus pricing their homes competitively. Price it to sell for today, not in the future, not what housing trends have shown in the past.
Yeah, you can't ever, if your buddy down the street sold it, 2 months ago and got this,
Right.
you're not getting that.
Well, houses are selling close to listing price.
Yeah, you're not going to get above.
Yeah.
And the last trend has been below price. You saw those price decreases.
Yeah, well,
That's 2/3 went to a price decrease.
Right.
Now we're assuming that they priced them properly. If they overprice them, then that's obviously why as well.
that's correct. And they could be people that have been job transferred. New homes, they could be new homes sitting on market and they need to unload that inventory.
That's true, because the new home builders are
Right.
stuck too, right? Because they
Yeah.
got to unload before they can keep building, because they don't have
Right.
unlimited,
Well, their money's tied up in those houses.
Yeah.
So they need to sell them.
they got to sell them to build another one.
Right.
And that kind of goes the same way with those that kind of flip homes, that
Yes.
do the whole, renting deal.
Right.
They're in the same boat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So as far as the future goes for Oklahoma,
Yeah, Oklahoma. Well, it's projected to grow cautiously, which is good, with a forecasted of 3.1% home increase through 2024.
and then as far as rates go,
So it makes it very stable for investors and buyers alike compared to the volatility across the coastal cities.
there's always been volatility in different parts of the
Yes.
country. My goodness, they can change quickly. We're thankfully pretty stable.
Yeah.
The other issue is the interest rates
Yes.
are supposed to, knock on wood, drop into the upper fives. So that's
Yeah.
not huge, but what that can mean is like maybe over the winter, we start dipping into, maybe you get a 5.75 interest rate, plus maybe the price of the home is dropped by $10,000 or $20,000 versus what it was today. So those two things add up.
Or 5.99 is still my Walmart pricing.
Is that what you like, 5.99?
Yeah,
I think we'll be well in the 5.75 range for
Right.
first quarter next year. Unless, again, this is all assuming we don't have World War III. And
Right. So we're
Anything
still really affordable compared to the rest of the
Yeah.
states, which is really nice.
So that was a cool little graph. By the way, thanks, Roger, for the stars tonight. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you, Roger.
And we got to
Appreciate
thank
it.
Ferguson Roof Systems, by the way, for sponsoring Team Tuttle Realty live broadcasts.
Yes.
Ferguson had to pay a visit to
Yes,
Team
he
Tuttle.
did.
I said, hey, we need you. So we got hit by that hailstorm that came
Yes,
through.
we did.
Edmond and Oklahoma City on the
Yeah.
east side and southeast side of town down toward Moore, Norman area.
Yeah.
The issue with that is if you haven't filed with your insurance, don't yet unless you've had somebody look at the roof and tell
Right.
you. Because
Absolutely.
there's a myth going around that you should tell your insurance and then they'll send somebody. That's not how that works, because that is a
Right.
claim that goes against you, whether you have damage or not.
Right.
And you don't want to take a hit ever, because we
Right.
all know how pricey insurance already is. Don't give them a
Yes.
reason to make it higher on you or drop you,
Yes.
for that
Or
matter.
drop, yeah.
And it's harder and harder to get decent insurance here in Oklahoma. Now they blame the weather, of course, because they got to blame something.
Right, of course.
So you're in the business of making money, not paying out money.
Right.
So in that part of it, to protect yourself, make sure you have somebody come out and inspect the roof.
Right.
So when it comes to doing that, obviously, the roofing companies here locally will typically do that for you for free. They don't charge you, nor should they make you sign a contract to do so, right?
Right.
So they come by, knock on your door, and if they say, okay, I can go up there, but I'm going to have you sign this. This is just a paper that does this. You take
Don't sign
take
anything.
that pen, you shove it back to them, you say, go like this and go have a nice day. Don't even listen to anything else they're saying, because they're scamming you.
Right.
They're not going to tell you with all the fine print what that really means is. What it really means is they own you. And that's the last thing you want. Some dude comes in your house and now they own you and your property.
Right.
Tell them to take a hike. So in that particular case, again, tell them, no thanks. I'll get a roofer that's not going to have me sign something.
Right.
And so anyway, so Ferguson came out. They don't make you sign anything, and they went up there and looked. And I did a video. We posted it here on our Facebook page and showed you kind of what to look for. So if
Yes.
you're,
That's informative.
if you don't want to, if you have no problem getting up on your roof, No, this is not advice. Do not, in case you were to take a tumble. Be careful. But if you have no problem doing so,
Yes.
that does show you what the roofers do look for, and that way
Right.
you can spot it on your own. And you might save them that call if you are completely certain. Because, oh yeah, I saw the video
Right.
Aaron had. It looks just like his. This is everywhere. Obviously,
Right.
you got hail damage. Okay, and then sure, if you want to make the claim, call your insurance, make the claim. But it doesn't hurt to have the roofers come out. The only reason why that may not work for you is if they're busy, right? Because
Yes.
now if they're in mode of fixing people's roofs, they've kind of passed through most of the immediate inspection phase, which is what has happened the last
Yeah.
week or so.
That's right.
That's the immediate inspection phase, right? Because we got to find out who all needs the roof. Once that now flips into time to fix the roof, it may take a while for them to come out to your home, so you have to be a little bit more patient. But I will tell you this, that Ferguson told me,
Oh yeah, Roger. Right.
right, no homeowner should ever get on their roof.
And look at your gutters. Get
Yeah.
some binoculars. So good point, because when we looked up,
Yeah.
all of our gutters
Yeah.
had little dents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you
And even the downspout that washes the water away from the gutter, it was all dented.
Oh, yeah.
So right away. So good call.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem getting on the roof. I'm a DIY guy, so
You are.
I am.
You don't say.
I do say. Nothing scares me. I don't mind. Plus, I'm cheap, so I can do it all myself. If I could, I'd just do my roof myself. But yeah, so
I
that's.
think you should.
Yeah, maybe I will. I've got some shingles in the garage.
Oh gosh.
I'll just start now.
No thanks.
I've seen it done. Watching across the street.
I'm sure there's some YouTube videos out
Yeah,
there.
there might be. Maybe I'll start one. Follow me
Right.
as I do my own roof.
That's right.
Anyway, so what was I gonna say? So.
Still have Fergus.
Oh yeah, okay.
Jamie
so-
Ferguson,
Yeah.
yep.
So he was talking. We were talking about Hurricane Helene and all the damage in the
Yes.
east, right?
Yes.
And we were just talking about basically big hurricanes in general, not necessarily just what's been going on, in that whole area from Tennessee, South Carolina,
Yeah.
Georgia,
Oh.
etc. But just from what happens when a hurricane hits, like around Florida or the inner coastline, right?
Right.
He says when that happens, usually most of the companies then divert all of the resources to fixing your roof to those areas. And that means everywhere else it's slim pickings. And the
Right.
inventory dries up, the products dry up, and now guess what? The delay to fix your roof
Yes.
has now increased. So he said, get your insurance done ASAP, get it all squared away,
Yes.
the numbers and all that stuff they're going to work with and fix. He said, because you want to get on the books ASAP.
Right. Sooner than later.
Because the longer you wait, the odds go up that all of our materials are going to run quickly dry and we won't be able to get anything more for a while.
And he also made mention too with the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So it's warmer, so it'll seal nicer.
Yeah, he did say that if it's cold and they do your roof, it has a hard time settling
Yes.
and kind of smoothing out overall.
And I can attest to that, because coming from Canada, and I worked in the new home market, they don't do a lot of home construction in the middle of the winter when it's cold.
I get too much snow.
Well, the snow, yes, but it's cold.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on a roof in the wintertime. Oof. Anyway, so that's another tip for you. If you haven't filed yet for your insurance, you've been you're busy. I get everybody's busy. You're sitting
Right.
around doing nothing, whatever. Quit it. Get on the phone.
Yeah,
do it tomorrow.
Just do it.
Knock it out.
Have the inspection and then
Yep. Get on the list.
call them.
And so I've known Ferguson with 5 years. I think we figured it out.
Yeah.
And great family, good guy. It's a whole family does the business,
Yeah,
and they've been doing roofing for a long time, since I think this is 1977.
yeah, and he's very quick to respond.
Yeah, he's really quick to respond, and if you're really nice and you sweet talk him, they do some gardening.
Oh yes.
Yeah, his wife's got a whole gardening channel. Isn't it like
homesteading.
Homesteading on Facebook or something?
Ferguson Homesteading.
And where they teach you how to can goods and all that kind of stuff. So
Harvest.
He might bring you something. Might have a little extra,
No guarantees.
Although
but-
we didn't get anything. I'm like, what? Of course, we have our own garden.
Right.
But I'm going to see what I
Yeah,
can
I
get.
did get lots of pointers though.
Yeah, you did get lots of pointers.
He was able to give me some good direction.
Yeah.
Moving
And
forward.
our garden was a little sad this year.
Oh, that
It was so sad.
okay.
You think it was the dirt or the heat?
It's still that's soil.
She hates the soil. We bought, what's it called? Garden Ready soil?
Garden mix from
Yeah, Garden Ready soil. Is it Mimic?
Mimic. Yeah.
Is it Mimic materials
Yeah.
or whatever?
I was a little. But I'm used to soil from Canada, so it's
Yeah.
really dark. It's really
Yeah.
rich. It's
right.
really
This
moist.
didn't seem to be as rich.
This was more like sandy clay kind of stuff.
No,
But
it was darker, but it wasn't what you're thinking. Remember, you don't know what clay in Oklahoma means red dirt, hard
Yes.
brick red dirt.
Yes.
Your clay in Canada is just it's like regular dirt here. I mean, like in most places.
Yeah,
so,
it's dark.
Yeah, no, I mean I think what you're basically wanting was a thing of peat moss.
Okay,
and
no,
manure.
I know what peat moss is.
and manure, I think
No.
is what you're wanting.
Oh my gosh, soil.
Yeah.
And those bags.
Yeah.
The dark soil.
Gotcha. All right. Well, anyway, problem is we're going to have to redo our garden and with some better dirt,
We
I
will,
think, is what
yeah.
the issue is.
Yeah.
But that's a whole gardening topic, which is deviated completely from
We
this
might
broadcast.
we might do a live doing the garden
Yeah. We'll
next
just,
spring.
we'll just start a whole new thing.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah. Put you out there, Miss Tuttle.
That's right. Hey,
Get
I
your
love
little garden
gardening.
hat. All right. Well, I think that's about it. Was there anything else you want to mention for this one?
No, that was
Okay.
it.
So just a little reminder, reach out anytime. Mm-hmm. You want to tell them how to do so?
Yes, you can reach out. Our phone number is 405-467-1785. Hi, friend.
Hi, Penelope.
Hi, sweetheart.
Oh, boy. Hi.
Yes, little Penelope. Here she is.
So she will likely have some puppies soon.
Yes.
So these are going to be those little teacup Yorkies.
Yes.
All right. So she weighs, what, 3
Right.
pounds?
Yes.
Larry used to weigh 3. And I think he's kind of beefing up
She's
for the winter.
shaking.
Well, she's probably exhausted.
She's had a busy day today.
Anyways.
Little girl.
So yeah, we might have a couple of Yorkies here
Yeah.
soon.
Time will tell.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's okay.
about it, I think.
That's it. Yes.
Okay. Well, hey, TeamTotalRealty.com is the website, and there's a phone number. Give us a call. Be sure
Yeah.
to share this video with anybody that you know that is
Yeah.
interested in the housing market right now and or planning to in the next couple of months or so. So that way they can get a snapshot of what is happening currently and what will be happening that we expect over the next couple of months. That way we can get them up to date.
Yeah, that's right. Love to hear from you.
You bet. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next broadcast.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.